I started off on my own, then I got respected. Put all my time into the grind and then I got connected. A few done turned their backs on me and I felt neglected. Now I'm moving on without them unapologetic.
Welcome to the Unapologetic Truth, the channel where we speak the truth and don't apologize for it. Why? Because the truth never apologizes. Alright, today, truthers, we're going to talk about the UN's plan of world population control. See, what people don't understand is this. There's an agenda, which is Agenda 21, and a piece of that agenda is population control. Okay? The main way they control the population is through manipulation. How do they manipulate? Through music, through television, and a main source of manipulation tool is the news, right? So we're gonna get into that a little bit later, but right now, we're gonna see their excuse of population control, which one of the excuses is depopulating the earth. All right, let's get into the first video.
We're living in an era of huge population growth. It took until 1804 for there to be 1 billion people on the planet. By 1927, that figure had doubled. In just over 30 years, it hit 3 billion. Then look how quickly it rose to 4, 5, 6, and now 7 billion. The world's population is growing by 200,000 people a day. Lack of space shouldn't be a problem. If everyone lived in one megacity, the density of Paris, then in theory, the entire population of the planet could fit into France with room to spare. So will our numbers keep rising? Almost certainly yes, for several decades. More people are in their reproductive years than ever before. More children survive thanks to better healthcare and sanitation, and people are living longer. The UN's best estimate is there will be 8 billion people by 2025, 9 billion by 2050.
Remember, this is an excuse to depopulate the earth. And look, they're using a news channel to manipulate the people, to get them thinking and fearing that the earth is overpopulating. But in all reality, the earth is so big that it can never be overpopulated. Hence the globe theory. This is for another, video for another time. But they use this excuse to put fear in the people's heart to say, oh, the earth is overpopulating. Oh, global warming is because of overpopulation. Oh, there's a fuel shortage because of overpopulation. But the people who are smart and awakened, they would know and see through the lies, read between the lines, that no, the earth is so big that it cannot be overpopulated.
And 10 billion by the end of the century. A higher UN prediction has the population at nearly 16 billion by 2100. Much of the increase will be driven by poor countries in sub-Saharan Africa, many already with inadequate food and water. In the next 40 years, Ethiopia could see its population rise from around 80 million to 145 million. Contrast that with Germany, a similar population to Ethiopia now, but this could fall to 75 million by 2050. Indeed, there...
Read between the lines. African population is exploding while Germany's population is declining. You see where I'm getting at?
There is a scenario that sees the world's population falling. The UN's lower estimate for 2100 is just over 6 billion people, a billion fewer than there are now. Why? Well, global fertility is already falling. In 1950, women on average had 5 children each. It's now down to 2.5. Small variations in fertility could have a big effect on population size in the future.
Read between the lines. They're trying to cut it down. Remember, he said for every woman, they had 5 children. Now it's down to 2.5. They're trying to get it down even more. How is they doing this?
In much of the world, including Brazil, Europe, Russia, Japan, even China, fertility has fallen so much that populations are reliably predicted to fall later this century. But whatever the long-term projections, for the coming decades, we can expect more and more people on the planet, way beyond the 7 billion milestone we're now passing.
Okay, but my thing is this. If the earth is overpopulated, then why is there still room in every country? Shouldn't everyone be crammed? The majority of the people is in mega cities like New York, Chicago, Texas, California, and areas like that. That's where the majority of the people are. But if you go out into the countryside, there's not many people out in the countryside. So how's the earth is overpopulating? Do you see what I'm getting at? How is it the earth is overpopulating when there's still a whole lot of room left? If you go into the countryside, you go to somebody's house, the next neighbor to them is 1 to 2 miles away in either direction, depending on how much land that person owns. They don't want you to buy land because of this. They're trying to strike fear into your heart so you can be like, okay, I agree with depopulating the earth. How you think it cut down from 5 children per woman to 2.5? All right, let's go to the next video. Now listen closely, everyone. Listen closely.
Africa, so I think also the governments have to, enhance these initiatives in order to manage the population that show in Africa or in Asia. They don't have that culture, and maybe those products haven't reached Africa. So I think also the governments have to, enhance these initiatives in order to manage the population and also
manage the population.
Kian Bexley for Rebel News here in Madrid, Spain at Climate Alarmist Ground Zero. This is the conference that the United Nations holds annually to sell their sustainability goals. Now, you may not know what those are. It's 17 ideas that on the surface sound great. I'll read off a few. Zero hunger, no poverty.
Those people that you see in the picture are part of the UN. And this conference is trying to get people to cut down on the population. Remember, manipulation.
Already, good health and well-being. Well, this sounds awesome. Gender equality, industry, innovation and infrastructure, sustainable cities and communities. But when you dive deep into what these are, which frankly none of the journalists here are doing, when you dive deep and actually ask questions about these goals, well, boy, does it get insidious real quick.
Insidious.
I was touring this facility, this fairground, when someone offered me a tour of this billboard of sustainability goals. Listen to this. So the contraceptive medicine, delivering that to people, how does that fix climate change? Does it reduce population, really? Is that priority?
There will be less population, so in this way we will contaminate, we will pollute less the atmosphere and the environment. So I think if we're less people, we can manage in a better way.
Is it important to target where the contraceptives go? Like, are there target areas?
Yeah, I think those in developing countries really need rather than developed countries, because here in Spain, for example, anyone or mostly everyone can access to contraceptives. But I think, for example, in countries that show in Africa or in Asia, they don't have that culture.
Why they keep saying Africa? Why does Africa is the main country that needs contraceptives? Population decline. Listen, just listen to what these guys are saying. Then you will get the full picture of what I'm trying to convey to you.
And maybe those products haven't reached Africa, so I think also the governments have to, enhance these initiatives in order to manage the population. And also,
you mentioned it was a culture thing. Some of them don't want to take it. How do the governments make sure that the citizens are taking contraceptives?
Well, I think it depends on the culture mostly, also in religion. But I think nowadays there's something like cosmopolitanism and this kind of ideas that go farther than culture and these kind of things. I don't have to be like logic in this way.
I understand the UN actually has branches that try and deliver these contraceptives. Should they be looking more towards enforcement so that folks actually take it?
Yeah, I think so. I think the UN has to, not only the UN, but also the regional organizations, such as the United Nations, and also the government, have to...
They're going to enforce you to take these contraceptives. It's not going to be voluntary. It's going to be enforced, mandatory. They need depopulation of the earth. Do you know why they need the population of the earth? They need the population of the earth so they can have a better way to control the people. If you have billions of people, it's harder to control billions of people. But let's say you drop that population all the way down to 500 million. It's more easier to control the population in that manner. When are you going to wake up? When are you going to see the deception? When are you going to see the manipulation? When? I see it. I know thousands of other people see it, but when is the whole masses of the earth going to wake up and see the deception?
To provide this kind of contraceptive. I mean, if we should just focus on one area, I would focus on those developing countries, because I think they don't have that culture. Yeah, it's like a measure of not having that culture, like integrated or assimilated, and on the other hand, the fact of not having those products, or maybe the cost is quite elevated because of the poverty in those areas. So most of the countries have signed this kind of sustainable development goals, and I think it's not a task only for governments, but also for private organizations, such as the companies or the enterprises. And I think that at the end, like eventually, the citizens are the ones who have to put them into to make them work. No, I mean the governments are elected by the people, so we are the ones who have to be conscious and to know what's happening right now.
You heard it as well as I did. What this individual who works for the United Nations said was that some folks shouldn't be having babies. Well, if you're in Africa, if you're in Asia, you shouldn't be having kids. And in fact,
why is this? Why is they saying Africans and Asians should not be having babies? I mean, this is really unbelievable. And then they keep saying that Africa and Asia is underdeveloped countries. How is that possible? Have you been to Africa? Have you been to Asia? You will see they have things like we have over here. They have millionaires. They have big high rises, and people are not sleeping all out in the streets like they are over here. Go to Africa. You won't see homeless people. People own land. People own their homes. They don't have a credit system like America has. They don't have credit over there. If you own a house, you bought it. If you own land, you bought it. If you have a car, you bought it. They don't have a credit system like they do here. Americans need credit. Europe needs credit. Any Western world, countries in the Western world needs credit, has credit. Which means you don't have money. You buy houses off credit, you buy cars off credit. But these countries that they're saying, Africa and Asia, are undeveloped. It's not making sense. It's not lining up to me, and I hope it's not lining up to you. Come on, man, wake up. See the deception. See the deception. See the manipulation.
the United Nations should be enforcing contraceptives on you. Like I said, insidious, real quick. None of the journalists here are interested in asking questions about this. They say, this is about climate change, this is about reducing CO2, it's great. Everyone should listen to what the United Nations is selling. And the United Nations is selling a big deck here along with climate change. It's not just global warming, it's intersectional feminism. It's enforced contraceptives on undeveloped countries, on unsuspecting women. This is the insidious underbelly of the United Nations. All you have to do is ask some questions. For Rebel News in Madrid, Spain, I'm Kian Bexty.
So you have people right now, women right now, all over the country who's marching for so-called women's rights. Why you ain't marching for this? Shouldn't it fall into the women's rights guideline? Shouldn't women have a right to choose if they want to have babies or not? I'm not understanding. I mean, they advocating for you not to have children, especially as not just Africa and Asia, all over the earth, but mainly Africa and Asia, because that's where the population is exploding. I don't get it. I read between the lines. I read between the lines. I see the deception. I see the lies. And I see the hate for women. The ones who want to have babies. I see it. When are you going to see it? When? Are you going to sit back and let it happen? Let them do what they want to do? Or are you going to rise up and speak out against this. I'm speaking out. Why are you not? All right, we're going to get to the last video. Now, this is one of the biggest things that they doing when they want to control the population. Right? They want to let you know that they don't want you to defend yourself. They want you to know that. They don't want you to defend yourself. If you don't have any type of defense, guess what? How you going to rise up against them when they spring into action? Let's get it. Let's get it, man.
Action on what the president calls common sense measures, and what's the realistic hope that you have that they'll pass both houses?
Well, we haven't proposed a package at this point, so it's hard for me to make a prediction about its likelihood of passing. But I will say that the president is somebody throughout his career who has advocated for smart gun safety measures. He has not afraid of standing up to the NRA. He's done it multiple times and won on background checks and a range of issues. And it is a priority to him on a personal level. But I don't have a prediction for you or a preview for you on a timeline of a package, and certainly not what it would look like and how it would go through Congress.
One more question for you. The colleague who sat in this chair last week asked you a question about whether...
So now we see that they're advocating for gun control. Gun control. Gun control. When are you going to wake up? They're coming for your guns. You heard what she said. The president already was standing up to the NRA. And won. With the backing of the elite, of course. Soon they're going to make it mandatory that everyone turn in their weapons, turn in their guns. Guess what's going to happen when you turn in your gun? When they call for martial law and they start killing Americans, not just Americans, but everyone around the earth, how you going to defend yourself? You won't be able to defend yourself. That's the catch. That's why they're passing all these laws to make it harder for you to buy guns. Not too long ago, not just last year, 2020, they passed laws to make it harder for you to buy ammunition. Ammunition. They made it harder for you to buy ammunition. If you don't believe me, look this up yourself. It's easy to look up. Just look on the web. They made it harder for you to buy ammunition. Now they're going to pass laws to make it harder for you to even purchase a gun, whether you're a felon or not a felon. You can have a squeaky clean record. And they're going to make sure that you cannot buy a gun legally. If you don't believe me, look this up. It's another form of controlling the population. Without weapons, they can control you much easier. There will be no pushback. Okay, like she said, there is a likelihood. She didn't say maybe. It could happen. No, there is a likelihood that it will happen. That they will pass these laws. Which they're saying they're going to pass it whether you like it or not. They're going to pass these laws whether you like it or not. Well, until next time, this is Unapologetic Truth, the channel we speak the truth and don't apologize for it. Why? Because the truth, it never apologizes. Now, if you're a subscriber to my channel, hit the like button, comment, support the channel. If you're passing through, you stumble upon this video or one of my videos, hit the subscription button. Hit the notification bell so you can get all of my content as I upload them, because there are more coming. I got more tricks up my sleeve than you believe. Also, comment down below. Let me know what you think about this. Tell me what's on your mind. Tell me if you awaken to the deception. Tell me if you awaken to the lies, the manipulations. It's Unapologetic Truth, signing out.
I started off on my own, then I got respected. Put all my time into the grind and then I got connected. A few done turned their backs on me and I felt neglected. Now I'm moving on without them unapologetic.